What's up guys, BARRYGAMING here, back with some more Project Diablo 2, and today we're going to be talking about the top 5 places to start your season off while farming. Now some of these are going to be very difficult to farm for certain builds, others are going to be very easy for everybody, and some of them include a little bit of a bug like our #1 farm spot, which I don't necessarily promote, but it's been in the game for years. Like, you can do this one a lot, but again, I've seen a lot of people asking, what do I do before I get into maps, and then when do I transition into doing maps? And that's very, very important because you need to get your core build built before really trying to take advantage of maps. So hopefully you guys enjoy this one. Hopefully this helps you guys out. If it does, leave a comment down below. Let me know what your favorite zone is to start farming in the second you get to hell difficulty. And also, let me know what you guys think about the video. Let's jump right into it. So the first one on this list is probably the best way to farm items when you immediately get to hell. Now, we're not even going to be talking about farming anything in Nightmare, anything like that. We're going to be talking about a glitch that you can do that can basically let you fight Duriel with like better drops over and over again. It's much like the Endario one, except this is a way to permanently quest bug Duriel, so he drops a lot of really good loot. He's gonna have rings, amulets, facets, things like that. I think I've seen Shakos drop from things like that, but it does require a bit of an issue because, you know, once you complete the quest, it's gone. It won't even tell you guys what icon you need to know, because you need to know which tomb to be going to over and over again. So essentially what this needs is it requires 2 people to get this glitched out. The first person needs to have completed the quest, which we're going to call the Rusher, and the second one is going to be the Rush-E. Essentially, you're going to open up the path to Duriel's chamber. The Rushies should all go back to town, and the Rusher proceeds to kill Duriel. At this point, if done successfully, the Rushies should not be able to complete the Duriel quest anymore, according to their journal. However, you do want them to go talk to Tyrael. Once you do, they should be able to finish the quest. And now, essentially, you will be able to see where to go, which path to go to, and which tomb to go to. It should still show up on here, but it'll let you progress further in the story. It's kind of a weird thing. I'm pretty sure it works the exact same way here. I know a lot of people do bug Duriel out and farm him a lot. You guys have more information on this, leave a comment down below. I just know this is in PD2. A lot of people that run Sorks and stuff like that, they farm this crazy good. So I want to make sure you're aware of it. The how-to might need a complete separate video, but I want to make sure you guys knew at least what it was. Now, #2 on this list is going to be probably my favorite and probably the best way to go about it if you are a physical build damage dealer, and that is going to be going to Act 1, which you can get to immediately upon hell. I even started farming this at level 68. Just be prepared. You are probably going to die. This is not a strategy to do as a hardcore player, but running to pits is a very good strategy. The loot in there is the highest eye level. This is a level 85 zone here. So this is going to be something very important. Granted, the run to it is not the best. This is only level 69, as you can see, but there are quite a few elite packs on here, and I've had a bunch of high runes drop just from the stuff literally on the way to the pit. Now, there's always 2 different directions here, and sometimes you will waste some time running the wrong way, like you see right here. This is a big baddie. This is not great for us right here. We want to be able to get the right way every single time, but sometimes you are going to waste time running around like this. But you can see there are some areas with a decent amount of, I guess I'll call it density here. There are some decent enemies as well that are, you know, a bunch of elites, and then the pit has a bunch of different layouts, but this is probably one of the best places to farm in the early game. You're going to get a lot of full rejuves from this run too, so if it's something you want to have is a ton of full rejuves, this is definitely something to keep in mind. But yeah, this is probably one of the easiest places to go to for physical damage builds. This does have fire immunity, so if you're any type of fire build, you will probably want to stay away from this. Elemental builds in general can do decent. I've just found that physical builds do very well here because there are just no physical immunities unless you come across a random one from an elite. Now, you can get every item from here. You can get Tyrael's Might. You can get every single item. I've got Shako from here. I get a lot of runes from here too. If you're a horker too, even though horking's not that great in this mod, this is another place where you can hork the elite mobs and potentially get some decent drops from it. This is my favorite spot and my go-to any character I make, even as long as they're not a fire build like a fire druid or fire sword or something like that. This is my go-to because the density is good, the amount of elites in here is good, and the drops are absolutely amazing. Just be prepared if you go very early, like level 65 to 70, you're probably gonna have quite a few deaths. Now, the next place is insanely good. Number 3 on the list is going to be the Arcane Sanctuary. Now, the downside of this is physical builds cannot do this. You need to have some sort of elemental magic or something damage, because you see these specters, they're immune to physical damage, but they're the main reason why we are here. Now, why is that? That's because ghosts in D2 have a very limited drop pool, which means the chances of getting things like charms, runes, things like that is much higher. So even though there's a lot of other trash here and everything, the main takeaway here are these ghosts. And the one difference in PD2 compared to other versions of Diablo 2, typically in other games, if you killed the ghosts over these like open gaping areas and everything, they would not drop anything. They would basically drop into the abyss of nowhere. However, in PD2, even if you kill them way off the edge of the screen here, they'll still drop their loot right on the board over here. They'll drop it right on the edge so that you guys can get it. It's not like you're killing stuff and then being like, well, now there's just no loot for me to have. That sucks. And the bonus here is there's the summoner as well. The summoner is one of the places you can get keys, which obviously I did not get lucky. Me personally, I go and do all these different routes until I find the summoner. I get the kill on the summoner and then reset and go again. There's really no point clearing all these wings if you're not going to also have a chance to get to the summoner, because again, keys very early in the season are worth an absolute ton. Like right now you can get like almost an ohm for a 3x3 set, which is pretty good. Granted, you're only farming one individual key, but there's still people looking for those individual keys. I do think this is probably the cheapest key out of all of them, mainly just because a lot of people are doing this Arcane Sanctuary farm. But you can see here there's a lot of really good kind of density here. If you are not a teleporting class, this can get very tedious. As you guys can see, there's a lot of stuff going on. Once I built my Rapture, I was able to do this because one proc of the fissure would kill the ghost. But again, you have to have some sort of elemental magic or something non-physical, because it's really hard to break the immunity of those ghosts. Now, number 4 on this list is going to be Hell Cows, and heck, even Nightmare Cows is not bad. It just depends on what type of build you are. If you are going to be going into cows, you're going to have to make this run over here through Tristram constantly, but again, there's still potential for some decent items. This is a level 82 zone in PD2, which is pretty cool. So there can potentially be some decent drops here, but mainly you're just going to run, get the Wart's Leg, head on back to town here, and we are going to summon the portal. Now, one thing to note is physical damage dealers are going to have a heck of a time. Just melee damage dealers in general are going to have a hell of a time with Hell Cows, because these cows hit for a ton of damage. However, if you have an interesting build like my own, or you have a range build or anything like that, it becomes much easier. Holy cow, there's already a level 28 for this shield. So this is going to be a great place to farm bases. This is going to be one of the best places to get high runes and things like that, along with Arcane Sanctuary. These are very good things that you can potentially get, and there's pretty good density here as well. It may not look like it because you might go through like spots like this where there's a lot of just empty space, but you'll get to spots like this where there's just an absolute crazy high amount of density, and that's the name of the game. You're going for as many kills as possible, as fast as possible, and that's going to up your chance of getting high runes. Now, this is a level 82 zone, so you're still going to be able to get a lot of the desired uniques out there. Just not going to see things like Templars, Imperial Mites, and those really high rated ones. But like I said, there's a ton of good density here, and if you're a ranged unit, there's like no spellcasters here whatsoever, so you don't really have to worry about taking damage. Melee, be prepared. You're gonna need some physical damage reduction. You're gonna get hit like a truck unless you have an interesting build like ours right here, which kind of like just cheats the system essentially. And then of course there is the Cow King. There's the cool Cow King set in this game too, which is pretty unique. I think it was bugged out early in the season the way it looked, but you can see it has good density here and there. Of course, if you're in a player's 8 game, it would be better, but I think we're defaulted to some decent drops here anyway, so yeah, just keep that in mind. I did this a little bit even on my elite barb at first, once I get my fissure. Again, an elemental build is going to be the best, or just any type of range build. So even if you're like a bow Amazon, like multi-shot or strafe Amazon, this can be a place you can farm as well. So just keep that in mind. These are all really good places. And let's move on to the last one on our list, number 5. Now, this is a very popular one for a lot of people. Heading from the River of Flame into Chaos Sanctuary, doing chaos runs. So this again has probably one of the best loot table drops you can get, especially since you get the Diablo kill at the end. Just be prepared, this is going to be the most difficult farm of them all, but it is very lucrative as well, because you can get the Uber materials off of Diablo, which is going to be necessary in the very early seasons. That's going to be some extra stuff here. There are some very, very difficult elite mobs, so just be prepared. You're going to have to deal with curses as well, so if you feel like your build is going to be really hampered by getting things like decrep and everything, then just keep that in mind. This is going to be a little bit of a tricky situation for you in your build. But once you get to a certain power level, if you feel like you're not quite ready for maps just yet, this is a very, very good spot to come and start farming. Again, it has like one of the better loot tables out there in general, and it doesn't have too many annoying mobs. It can just have some really tanky ones. Making sure you have very high lightning and fire resistance is going to be a must, because of the enemies that you're going to encounter in here, and it can be very tricky, because you see right here, even these fire immunes I cannot break through. So just be prepared. You need to have a proper build for this. Make sure you're accounting for immunities, and just be prepared. The seal bosses are difficult as well. Now, you can do a seal pop strategy, which means you're basically teleporting around. You're not killing any of this trash. You're literally just going to all the seals, popping them open, and killing the elite pack that summons, and then coming back around and finishing everything off later on. Like right now, we're gonna just kill him, and then we're just gonna move on. We're not gonna go ahead and do that. We're just gonna go around. We're gonna leave all this trash up. You can do this with elite build, teleport builds, anything like that, blood warp, all those things. Those are all very good strategies. If you don't want to take the time killing all these enemies, this is going to be the way to go. Although this seal in the corner here is super annoying. It's still bugged out to this day. But you can still just come around. You can go ahead and get some kills in. Again, get the really difficult enemies taken out, because that's the only thing that really matters. Is killing all the extra minions isn't really as big of a deal here. And then you can summon out Diablo. I think this is overall probably the best quality if you're looking for all different types of loot. If you're just specifically looking for runes, then of course Arcane Sanctuary, or of course running cows, is probably going to be the best option for most people. But you see right here, we're basically just going to pop this seal too, and once the mini boss here dies, everything else dies around us. So that's good and bad. You can do the teleport strategy. I think actually, I don't know if it actually still works, where you can run around, teleport around, and get the loot from all the other enemies that are near us. But again, this has Diablo in it. It has boss loot, which is pretty good. We want to get our curses up. Hopefully the lower res goes on them too. There was a bug where this lightning wasn't working properly early on. I'm pretty sure the lightning is working properly now, but zerging down Diablo and hoping to get some good drops and stuff, hey, that's not the worst thing in the world, honestly. So that is my top 5. If you guys have any other favorites, please leave a comment down below. I know some people like doing some other side things, like farming Eldritch and Shank 2, which is a nice little farm here. I don't know if anybody actually farms Pindle in PD2. I couldn't actually say, but you can see Eldritch and Shank, very, very easy to kill. You're probably not going to get much experience from it, but I have in past seasons got a pretty good rune drop rate and charm drop rate off of these two, and they're very quick resets. You can see how fast it was just to kill those two and then reset, and then plus you see enemies around the boss die too. So hopefully you guys enjoy this one. If you have any other favorites, please leave a comment down below. I'll see you guys next time.